Hey folks, Wilderness Chef here, Andrew Rochon from Cabela's Bass Pro Canada. Thanks for tuning in. This is Grilling Like a Pro. I'm going to teach you some tips and tricks that I use at home as well as in the commercial kitchen that are going to make you a better barbecue chef. Alright, my first tip when it comes to chicken or pork, you gotta brine it. Overnight, 12 hours to 24 hours ideally. That's going to help keep it nice and juicy through that long grilling or smoking process on the grill, and you're going to have a fantastic finished product. So Cabela's has a variety of different brines. I recommend anytime you're doing, whether it's a couple chicken breasts or a big pork roast, to brine it for at least 12 to 24 hours, and you're just going to have a really nice juicy end product. My second tip for being a grilling pro is seasoning. Do not be afraid to over season. Coat those steaks, coat those pork chops, and whatever your favorite seasoning is. I love the open season Mountain Man bourbon rub and the honey pecan. They're hard to beat, but be very liberal with your seasoning and do it about an hour or so before, as your meat's coming to room temperature. That's going to help those flavors really penetrate the meat and get a great outstanding end product. Another handy tip is making sure that your meat and your grills are properly oiled. That's going to help those steaks or a nice tender piece of fish release and not get stuck to the grill and fall apart. So I'm going to show you a quick little tip on how I like to do that. So I take an onion, slice it in half with a little bit of canola oil, and I actually use this as kind of my brush to help oil that grill, and that's actually going to give you some great flavor as well. So next important tip is preheating, whether it's your flat top or your smoker or your barbecue. You want to, like with the smoker for example, leave the lid open on smoke for 10 minutes, and then once that's done, then you can set it to your temperature, because the last thing you want is to put a piece of meat on a cold grill. Pro tip number 5 here is knowing and controlling your internal temperature. This is a meat probe or thermometer, and this is going to help ensure that you hit that perfect medium rare temperature, or if you've got a brisket, you nail that magic number of 204, and that's going to ensure that your meat's done and done perfectly. Last but definitely not least is one of the most important things, and that's resting your meat. Resting your meat after you're done cooking, when you've reached the internal temperature that you want, is super important, because what happens if you cut that meat while it's still hot, all those juices are going to want to purge, whereas if you let it rest, that moisture that's still left redistributes throughout the meat, keeping it all nice and evenly juicy. So always rest your meat. Hey folks, thanks for watching. Hopefully these tips and tricks will help you to become a better grill chef at home.